We'll just do live.
Akira. He's got clout.
Good morning, good morning. And we're good. There we go. Computer down a little. Bring this forward. There we go. Camera adjustments live happening. Get that one. This is the poetry studio, and my desk is a mess, as you can kind of see. I am trying to organize for the millionth time my haiku and senru. Haiku, of course, being 575. Let's see if the camera can get it. There we go. Little 575 syllable poems. I plan on working on more of them today. But what always happens with the senru and the haiku is that I forget where I'm at on my numbers, and it just becomes like a total mess for me. But that is perfectly okay. It's been a good morning. I have wrapped up all my commissions. I spent basically the entire morning yesterday morning. I was running around town to UPS store, to all these places, getting out all these poems, giving them to people in person. It was wonderful. We have a lot of amazing poetry that happened for Christmas. So big shout out to everybody that decided to get a poem. And I know I hinted at this before, and I still am not yet ready to kind of reveal it, but I've created a new type of poetry, and I'm going to be working that out and doing more of that, and kind of just exploring creativity, just continuing to be a catalyst, as the instrumental playing right now says, for new creativity. So, and I hope everybody's doing well this morning. So I used the term senru, you can see senru here on one of my folders, kind of regularly, and you might ask yourself, what is a senru? And I might have talked about it before, and if I did, you could stop me. But senru is basically haiku, except it's about people. So when I write a haiku about the bride's gowning glistens, that's for, that is definitely for a person, not necessarily about nature. Well, haiku is more nature-based. So while I still haven't found all of the papers that I needed to find, I can kind of work with this and just work with that. So get started on some new senru. So as I did yesterday, let me get a poll up. Because I will have to change streaming starting the day after Christmas. Because I'm going to be staying in different places and stuff like that. And hey, Twitcher Alex, good to see you. I'm just setting up a poll real quickly. I forgot what my options were yesterday, but let's drop that in there. Oh, good morning, Telemonian Dan. It's so good to see you. Now, if anybody has any requests today, I'd be more than glad to take them. I'm not feeling the haikus, but I'll be doing them because, you know, you should just do the work that you need to do. And then also, for those that haven't been here in a while, we do have more channel rewards that have been dropped into the thing. So if you click on the little icon where you can see channel rewards, you can have me do ridiculous things. So just check to see if I'm actually wearing pants today, if need be, or switch over to the dog cam if you're feeling like you want to say hi to the flute. But let's get some haikus done in the meantime. It is nearly Christmas. I actually was late to the stream this morning because I had to do more Christmas shopping. My sister, who is obsessed with guinea pigs, well, I'm not going to say it on the stream because then it would potentially spoil the gift. I don't even know if she watches or not, but let's just say I got a guinea pig themed gift for her and her boyfriend. There was someone else I wanted to write for. Possibly write that poem about theater and depression, but I'm not going to write that right now. Switch over to a typewriter camera. There we go. So how are you doing, Telemonian Dan? How are you doing, Twitcher Alex? I know, Twitcher Alex, you've been very busy. Continuing to expand and add and more and spread everything Meaning Wave related. So these haiku, these senru that I'm doing, are a collection of 15, which I'm going to do 5 each of them. They're going to be going in gift baskets for brides at a bridal show coming up, as I continue to try to do more outreach for weddings and stuff like that. Twitchy Alex says, very sleepy. How are you doing, buddy? I've been doing good. Except it's, you know, like, you go on and off routines, and it's like night and day. Like, I did a run for the first time this morning in a long time. And, like, by a long time, I mean, like, a couple of days. Like, you go a couple of days without doing a run, and suddenly, like, you know, your whole world just feels weird. Like, I tell you, staying in shape, staying on top of things like that, super important. Just super important. Getting our camera adjusted. There we go. Telemonian Dan says, I've been pretty good, though. It's a bit odd for me to be up at 5:30 on my days off like today. Is it that you usually wake up at 5:30 in the morning? I know that feeling. Yeah, when you're finally like, oh, this will be the day that I sleep in, and like, you still wake up anyway naturally. That's not a bad thing either. To have that happen. I think that overwhelmingly people are definitely agreeing that start streaming at 10 a.m. EST is something that would be good to try out on the vacation, and I think that we're gonna do that. Haiku number 166. Flowered family, tabled across the great hall, in awe of it all. So when you think of weddings, if you guys, well, I mean, everybody thinks about weddings at a certain point. What is one of the things that stands out most to you? What are some of the themes about weddings that stand out? For me, I'm always just like, the collection of family together is always a big thing for me. I love it. So every haiku that I write, I individually number. Because of my own inconsistency, some of them are doubled up. Like around 80 or 90, I crossed over numbers by accident. But the cool thing is that eventually, it'll be something where, like, if somebody wanted to try to find and collect them all, they are all serialized. But I don't know how I'm going to do second and third ones. Like, I'm going to experiment with something in a sec. Let me finish writing this one first. Telemonian Dan says, what sometimes strikes me about weddings and also funerals is how it brings together so many different people who may not have much in common aside for caring about wishing the best for the bride and groom. I like that. That goes deeper than the haiku that I had written about flowered family goes, and I like that. And I think I'm going to try to incorporate that in my next haiku. But first, I'm going to try doing what kind of like sequencing them. I wonder what the @ sign was used for before email. Oh, dang it. Typos. Now, funny thing is you can request haiku using the channel points features. So if any of you want a little haiku about something, feel free to request it. So what I'm going to probably do, because it looks pretty good for me, is when I do a copy of a haiku, I will letter it. I guess my estimation being that I don't plan on doing more than 25 copies of a specific haiku, or 26, I should say. Yeah, 25 copies with 26 letters of the alphabet. The other option would be to do it as a number, but I don't think that's going to look as good. So it wouldn't be that. I'm going to put this over. We're just testing out numbers here. What is everybody's get after it for today? Mine is to, you know, some of my part-time jobs are a little, ooh, Telemonian and Dan looked up the origin of the @ sign. Ah, that's so cool. The earliest yet discovered symbol in this shape, with the A with a circle around it, is found in the Bulgarian translation of a Greek chronicle written by Constantinos Manasses, 1345. It features the @ symbol in place of the capital letter alpha A in the word Amen. Why it was used in this context is still a mystery. Evolution of symbol as used today is not recorded. Ah, that's interesting. So it just kind of was there. People just probably used it. So, I've got a quick poll, since now that I'm using the poll feature all the time. These are our two different versions of the haikus. I'm curious what you guys think. Nice little poll. I've never used a poll feature before, so now I'm just going crazy. Which one would you guys prefer to see if you were to get a serialized haiku? The only thing is the limitation of the one on the right is that I have a limit of 25 per. Good point, Talamoni and Dan. Yeah, it seems most commonly used for accounting and pricing. That would make sense because typewriters would probably need to have that. In fact, if you actually look at the key, I don't know if I could do this here. I could probably do this on my screen, though. Well, I don't think I can. But the it sits right above the cent sign. So there's the dollar sign is in a totally different spot, but it sits above the cent sign. Oh, our poll is expiring. We did not have anybody vote. That's okay. I think... I don't think I want to ever do more than 25 copies of a haiku. I think that keeps it exclusive. And I mean, worst comes to worst, I could always switch to the other one, so I'm going with the letter. 165B. So you can see here, like, this is the original, and the original will never have a letter next to it. Then we have 165B. It did not register. Which one did you prefer, Dan? You can just drop it in the chat. It seemed to have not registered before the poll closed. Yeah, I agree on the letters. The letter provides a contrast to the number, because just more numbers in a line looks too, what do you call it? It looks too systematic. The letters look heartfelt. So, no numbers. Sort up. So you can see now what it looks like. So this is 165 and then 165B. Same haiku, but now serialized in a letter. Well, that's exciting. I have to write 75 total haikus by January 10th, which is not hard. But it's going to be 15 individual haikus copied over. And then I plan on copying them more and then having them set out as favors at different weddings. And that's the plan. And that's what, this is the desk of a working artist. The one with the numbers seems like an error, like extras from a set, like choo choo, which could be interesting in its own way. Though I know it is not an error. One with the number. Yeah, it feels like that is like an addition to it. Like it's something that I'm going to take that idea and put a pin in it, because I definitely can do something really interesting with that in the future. It's not like I have to stick to one system, as long as I document it. Because that's the key. The key is to document it. And to make sure that I know, so that it can be kind of traced back. My hope is that there isn't, you know, like if these do become something that are exclusive, that it wouldn't end up like, you know, that people could trace it back. And I have a running document which keeps track of all the haikus and their numbers. Collect them all. There we go, Telemony and Dan. Differences forgot. True families, one in thought. Celebrate love's hope. I like it. I really do enjoy writing the haikus. Again, just kind of being casual about names here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can change this margin. Now I need to get, the last two have been more ethereal. I need to get something that's very wedding-y. Oh, wrong button. I'm trying to see if there is a way to be able to see new followers. Yes, that's true. If the bridal party doesn't choose a color. See, that's the thing about writing these wedding haikus, is I have to be mindful of the fact that there could be a lot of atypical wedding choices, and someone could get this haiku and be like, what? But I guess people understand that I'm kind of celebrating the archetype of a wedding, and that theirs is details. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, I was checking it. We haven't had anybody follow the channel in about a week or so. There's a whole bunch of new things that show up now if people follow the channel and subscribe. There's a whole bunch of different logos that come up now, which is cool. I was just checking because it usually gives me an option to be able to replay over, replay old follows, but it didn't doesn't give me that now. Ah! You redeemed hydrate. Let me go and get myself a water bottle because I actually left it here. I gotta go and put the brake on.
Yeah, it's a mobile stabilizer, so it makes it smooth. Hey Sarah, hey, do you want to try my stabilizer? Yeah, it's a mobile stabilizer, so it makes it smooth.
Getting a little headache, believe it or not, so thank you. Need to keep the brain cells lubricated, which is why I can't figure out the third line in this poem. Here now comes the bride. I don't remember the other lines of that song. I was trying to emulate that song. If you're tuning in, I'm writing haikus for weddings. As always, you could suggest a poem, request one. I figured I would probably end up using the word light, but I didn't know how. That's how it ended up turning out. Here now comes the bride, all dressed in shimmering white, source of day's light. I think we got to give the groom some love here in the in these haikus. We haven't been talking as much about the groom as we've been talking about the bride. Tested. There we go. I like that one. That makes me remember what I felt like on my wedding day. Vested and vibrant. Smile suits the days rejoice. Lucky be the groom. Tomorrow, I will probably be working on the Rose poem. If anybody remembers, the Rose poem is my first attempt at integrated art with visual art. Well, not my first attempt, but it's going to be, it's a really cool attempt because I'm going to be doing poetry on a line drawing of a rose. We got the flowers. Now I'm trying to think of other wedding vendors and aspects of the celebration and reception. That is something that I know other typewriter artists do, but no, that's not what this is. This is the, and I could pull it out, I think it's in here. I just don't have the headspace this morning to review it. Well, it's a lie. I do, I just am not. So, and I actually don't think I've gotten a chance to show this off since I've gotten the SLR camera. This isn't the actual sketch. This is my line drawing, my trace of it. The actual rose is in here. What's this? This is not me. I don't understand why the camera won't focus on things when I hold them up to the front. Is it looking for my face? There we go. If I put it right in front of here. So anyway, that's that. And so I do have some poetry I've written around it. Is this the one with the poetry? No. There's one in here with the poetry. It kind of looks a little bit like this. But it needs more. It needs more work. And I said, and I did this like at least a month and a half ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get around to editing it. And then I never did. So. I like this one. So obviously, a good wedding has good food. Plates piled with love. Devour the memories for future's dessert. Oh, wrong folder. Shout out to the lurkers. You guys seriously rock. I always am a fan of... Oh. Well, believe it or not, since I've done that now, I can create the second copy. I lurk on like basically every channel that I go on. Because I'm always busy doing stuff outside. Thank you, Dan. Says great ending on that one. Yeah, I kind of like the notion of... I think that's a larger poem waiting to happen. The notion of meals to memories. And how, you know, there's expectation. Food is very, very... Twitcher Alex says, I'm looking at Pokemon cards while waiting this morning, LOL. By the way, that, so Twitcher Alex, when you helped inspire the Santa List poem, the Santa List poem being this insanity right here, a endless poem about Santa's list that appears on receipt paper. It's been a hit with everybody. This has been one of the best Christmas poems, according to some people, that I've ever written. So thank you again for that inspiration. I remember having Pokemon cards. And I remember that I couldn't, like, I was really sad that I couldn't game with them. Because the thing with Pokemon, like Pokemon cards seem to work on a very similar, alright, maybe that's controversial to say, but they work on a similar framework that the Magic the Gathering cards for, where there's like these energy cards, and you use the energy cards to summon Pokemon, but I never had enough energy cards. And so I could never summon Pokemon. And then, like, I never played. But I remember I had that dragon. Oh, goodness gracious, the name of it forgets me. It was the one that was the Evolution of Magikarp. Remember, I had a foil one of those, and I was very proud of it. They're still sitting somewhere, I'm sure. Like old Magic cards. Like old Pokemon cards. Gyarados. I don't think I'm even pronouncing it right. Like, I forgot, knew it was this. I thought it was that, but like, the pronunciation. A foil Gyarados. Lucky LOL. Yeah, I mean, I remember it was just like, it was one of the cool cards I had. I know I had a Snorlax buried in there. Oh goodness, those are all back at my house. Well, if I find them, I'll see about, you know, hey, if you still collect, I have no use for them. I can see about getting them to you. I am going to be visiting home and family, but I don't know how much contact I'm going to be inside the house since we're trying to play it real safe with COVID, so Who knows? Since we do have at least 3 people watching the stream, we will probably raid into Akira if he does start. Which I think would be cool. And he has not started. But Disco started. But I plan on just continuing to work on these haikus until I've at least finished 10. I have to finish at least 10 unique ones. He's about to go live right away here. We'll continue reloading, and once I see him pop up, I reload on my phone to check. Night and bright is one of the most common rhymes that I use, and I've been challenging myself to get away from it. Usually that involves me using a rhyming dictionary. Rhyme, night, like all those rhymes, night, light, sight, bright. I feel like that they're almost like an easy go-to. When you write a lot of poetry, a lot of poetry. The light, thank you, Telmoni and Dan. You start to fall into patterns. Like you start to find certain things just work real easy and real quickly. Like anything, like any process. But the thing is I have to keep it fresh. So I'm always challenging myself. Let me see. I'm going to go to the rhyming dictionary and pick out something random. Not really random, but something that's going to work. Some less known ones. Ignite, polite, tight, bright, slight is a good one as well. These are ones that I don't use as common. I like slight. Sight is I've used it kind of. The thing about sleight is that it's a precursor for sleight of hand. Anytime I hear sleight, I think sleight of hand. I rarely ever see the word sleight on its own. But slight, but like there's also slight things. Like it's a slight, it's a slight rain outside. So slight is a great word to stick on the end of the line if I plan on doing the enjambment. It wouldn't work here though. I think though what would work here is I'm gonna go with my ignite. And I'm going to use another not as common word. The one problem with this god-awful typewriter is I can't actually roll back on these haikus. Thinking of the words. These haikus usually come quicker haiku. Let's go for that. Dance, dance, dance all night. Matching moves with love's ignite. Celebrate the right. I like it. Who are you really? See, and like that one just rolled off the tongue. With first dance swaying, everything spoke in soft gaze, love in full display. You're just tuning in, we're doing wedding haiku. Do you have an idea for wedding haiku? Are you curious about poetry? Do you like dogs? These are all things that you can find here on the Poetry Studio. We also do hydration. Now something that's a little more, we forgot about photos. I love writing poems about photos and photography. They're very thematically always similar. It's always about capturing a moment, which is extremely, extremely cliche, but I love that. I just love the idea of being able to take something that's in the flow of time and pulling a slot of it out, a frame. This is kind of a blend of two memories at one. looking back at the same time as the current. Framed on the mantle, dresses and suits in array, parties just begun. Taking that past and bringing it into the present. This might confuse people, but I think I'm going to stick with it. Talmonian Dan says, and in writing about it, you memorialize that which does itself memorialize a moment. Now, if somebody were to take a photo of me memorializing the moment in which somebody memorializes a moment of the photo capture, how meta have we gotten? And I've actually done that. I've actually written poems about people taking pictures of me writing poems. Jay Wilburn says, I love that writing haiku always comes down to counting on our fingers. Yes, indeed. If anybody is not sure what I'm doing there, and I'm going to kind of settle in and keep streaming a little longer here. I want to get through the 15 originals on this. The haiku is 575, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. And I try to avoid, it's very easy to use participles and filler words, so, to kind of help add those symbols up. Sometimes I do. But I like to get to the real meat of it. Well, thank you, Jay, for swinging by. I do not know if you follow the channel or not, but we love poetry, we do haiku, we do everything. So yeah, feel free to check it out. And let me know if you'd like to request a haiku. These are all wedding themed, but I can always write something else. And we cannot forget the best man, the speeches of the best man and the maid of honor. Oh, thank you so much, Jay Wilburn. I really appreciate the kind words. I know that there's it's always different people that are kind of floating around, checking the chat and things like that. It really means a lot to have you here, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, we were just thinking on the same wavelength, Talmoni and Dan, and the camera's moved a little bit. Here we go. I'm looking up on the... Did I forget how to spell the word embarrass? I won't tell you. I'm looking for a word that is garish but good. Right? And it needs to be two syllables, like garish, but it can't be garish. Something where it's like very, very focused, but is not completely. Thinking it through, thinking it through. Highlight is good, but it's not strong enough. Like, I think that the word was, like overwhelm is a great word, but it's 3 syllables. I need to. Over this. Yeah, and I was thinking spotlight too. But I would have to verb it, and it would be 3 syllables, like spotlighted. I wish that I could do 1, but we're close. We're bouncing around it. Yeah, so it's like, what is it? It's almost like glaring, but glaring has other connotations. Because like a glare is when you shine too much light on something, it creates a glare. This is the way I'm trying to say in 5 syllables, but maybe gratitude is the issue. Because I was gonna say blank blank gratitude. Speeches speak in truth, raise glass and slight embarrass. Jay Wilburn comes through. That is the perfect word. That is literally the best word for this situation. Brassy gratitude. I love it. We were great teamwork, guys. That hits it. Thank you. Because that's indeed it. Brassy gratitude. It's very like almost like, yeah, you can't. And it works perfectly with the embarrass line. And here is the finished product. A nice tongue-in-cheek. And this is a lot of, like, a haiku, it's funny because you do a lot of them and a couple of them stand out. And I appreciate your help, Jay, because this one really clutches it in 17 syllables. Speeches speak the truth. Raise glass and slight embarrass. Brassy gratitude. And the only thing it's missing is just a little comma and embarrass. There we go. Now that is a way more accurate. Great call. Thank you, Jay, for that word. I believe that makes 11 out of 15. So I'm just going to count them. Let's see where we're at. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not counting them. I'm just counting out numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 4 more. And we will have created all of our original haikus. And then I will just need to type them out. What have we covered? We've covered fidelity. We've covered dancing. We've covered food. We've covered photography. We've covered the wedding party. You know what we haven't covered? Down the aisle. Down the aisle. Yeah, I like that. And I think I'm just going to steal that for opening line. And then I know what I'm doing for the next one. Down the aisle, down the aisle, down the aisle. Because even though like I'm trying to do a bunch of facets, what it is there going to be 75 individual haikus, and they're each is going to be dropped into a basket. And I could just do 75 of the same haiku. I could have gotten away with that, but I'm an artist, and that just would not seem right. But having multiple poems about brides and their beauty, which is always one of the most important focal points of a wedding, is just that to me is just the big one. I'm just looking for that other word to add into that to open it as a good line. Down the aisle flow. Flow is not a good word. I don't want to use flow. But I want a thesaurus flow. Oh, it's a good word. Oh, except for the fact I typoed it. Am I going to care? There we go. Glide. Yeah, we go. We thought of the same thing. Except I might not actually end up using this particular haiku because of the typo, but like the particular paper. But I can write my draft out of here. Down the aisle, glides. Center of it all. Right. No. And obviously, if you have the word glide, you need to end the next line with bride. I'm trying not to make it too ethereal, but I'm working on it. I appreciate everybody that stopped in today. Hope you've all enjoyed the channel and the haiku creation that is happening today. And then I can make it playful. So there's a very lofty haiku, and I love taking the last line and making it into kind of a snap punchline. There we go. So it got a little bit of a punch to it. And a good punch. Down the aisle glides pure tradition. Perfect bride sidles to his side. Now, it wouldn't be a wedding, in my personal opinion, without a poet. Of course, that's the whole point of me trying to advertise my services. So one will be... Second, seems that we have an ink. No, ink's good. Typewriter's just being weird. We may have had the it looks like the Akira the Dawn gang has moved on to their stream, which is perfectly fine. You might still be here, Dan. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been so good to be able to catch up with you here. Are you back across the country at this point, or are you still in Winchester? I think that you would think you were going to be back across the country at this point, right? Bard. Looking up something real quickly. Yeah, no, and hence why I think that what's going to be interesting about this Christmas vacation experiment is that starting a stream at 10 a.m. For about a week or so, if I notice a massive change in my view counts, then I might stick with it. I mean, I'm not usually doing something at 10 a.m. I've never liked it because I like the idea of being out of the house and working somewhere by 10 a.m., like at a coffee shop or something like that. But if it's making the stream better for people, then I'll do it. Bard is such a bad word. Bard is a bad word because it sounds weird. These are things that a poet says. Yes, but minstrel also has its problems. Not a better word. Definitely a better word. As of late, quite literally, its association with minstrel show continues to degenerate it. But that's only in very public contexts. See, that's the thing, is like, a lot of times when you write for yourself, when I write for myself, I should say, I know that I can be a little more flexible and fluid. Oh, that's so cool! LARPing in New Jersey. You played a bard named Jonathan Carter, Minstrel of the Rose. I like that. Man, I feel like LARPing was something that would have been... but it's not something... I don't want to ruin the word for you. I see you there, concerned about that's a connotation I've thought of. But it's more that, like... I don't know, like... I have to... Because I'm writing oftentimes for total strangers... a practice that I have is really digging into what a word could mean and how it could be connotated. And sometimes you just can't control that. Sometimes you just got to take the risk and you got to try to use context clues to indicate the type of vibe you want to get from the word. Two more to go. This is a good project for me to get done this morning. Get this out of the way. January 10th seems like a far away, but it's not. Wedding. Honeymoons, of course. Oh no. Now you're looking at my keys. Oh, that's a good point. That'll be the last one. There's certain I could keep doing these forever, but at a certain point I gotta, you know, kind of be like, all right, escape to seclude, honeymoon. Or I'm not liking this one. I usually don't abandon halfway through. I got a way to save it. I can save it. There we go. Saved. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14. One more. I mean, eventually I'll have to revisit this again, especially if I'm going to have these as potential takeaways for guests at weddings, which is the secondary reason why I'm doing this. Even a typewriter is getting tired. It's dropping letters. Ring bearer and flower girl. Well, that's a center line. Uh-oh. I've streamed long enough that the camera's battery died. I have to figure out how to that might be it. I have this all set up that I don't have to switch back and forth between my laptop camera and the Canon camera. But it's good because what I've never done is I've never streamed for a length of time to test how long the camera will last. I know that with the battery, the camera will last an hour and 21 minutes. Now we're just staring at this. That'll do it. I promise I will send you the ring bearer flower girl haiku when I finish it. But thank you so much for being here, Dan. Shout out to everybody else that was here. We will, you know what we'll do is we'll end on the doggo cam because that is, of course, the best way to end the show. Let me see if I can get Max to move it around a little bit. Hey, buddy. He didn't even notice I just dropped a treat in there. Max, you got a treat. Right here. Oh, look. Here he is. Now he knows there's a treat in there. Max, get your treat. It's a treat. There's a treat. Now he's just losing his mind. There he is. Max, no, it's not here. You're sitting on it. It's right. Max, you could do this. It's right. You're literally missing it. Turn around. There we go. He's in it. No. Maybe. He found the tree. Well, that was an adventure. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dan. Thank you, everybody else that's tuning in. You have a wonderful day. We'll go with our outro.